Jananam sukadham maranam karunam milanam maduram smaranam karunam kalavasyadeha sakalam karunam samayadipate akilam karunam. Good evening everyone. I said good evening. Those in the upper regions, you're in talking terms with me? Joy, to be peaceful and joyful. A whole lot of people, even so-called spiritual leaders in the world, are going about propagating that peace of mind is the ultimate goal of your life. I want to ask you, tonight if you want to enjoy your dinner, even if you're not ecstatic, at least you must be peaceful and joyful, isn't it? Hello? Whenever I need, I'll seek a higher opinion. If you want to enjoy this handful of people who are around you in the form of family or work or whatever, at least you must be peaceful and joyful, isn't it? If you want to enjoy a walk on the street, you must be peaceful and joyful. So I'm asking you, to be peaceful, to be joyful, is it the ultimate goal of your life or is it the most fundamental requirement? But a whole lot of people are saying it is the ultimate goal of your life. Such people will only rest in peace. Is there anybody here who's not known a single moment of joy in your life? Now you cannot be here because if there was not a single moment of joy in your life, you wouldn't be alive right now. You would have found no reason to be alive. There are moments of joy. That means you know how to be joyful. If you are given a choice between being joyful and miserable for yourself, what you want for your neighbor may be debatable. But for yourself, if you have a choice between being joyful and miserable, what is your choice? Make a choice, I'm going to bless you. Joyful and miserable, what's the choice? Joy. So you want to be joyful, you know how to be joyful. But, see, if you know how to be joyful and you want to be joyful, why do you need a yogi to guide you? Yes, I want to be joyful, but to kick that butt, you need a yogi. There is nobody who does not want to be joyful. There is nobody who does not know how to be joyful. But, shall we kick that butt? One butt means we could kick it off. There are too many butts. If I have to be joyful, my wife should become like this, my husband should become like this, the world has to change, and we must have a new president. Endless amount of buts. Being joyful is not the goal, it is the basic requirement. Today there is substantial medical and scientific data to show you that only when you're pleasant within yourself will your body and brain work at its best. You know this by experience, isn't it? Yes? You know this by experience, but you don't trust your experience anymore, you need data. There is substantial data, you can check it out, that if you are really pleasant within yourself, your body and your brain works at its best. There are some studies which show that for 24 hours, that is one full day, if you spend one full day without a moment of irritation, agitation, anger, anxiety, nothing, just joyful, your ability to use your intelligence may go up by 100%. You could do with that, isn't it? Hello? Can't all of us do with little more? Little more sensiness, can't all of us do with it? Can't the world do with it, I'm asking you? But the problem is, most of the time human beings are going through circus within their own mind. When I first arrived in United States a few years ago, wherever I went, people were talking about stress management. I could not understand why would anybody want to manage stress. Because in my understanding, we manage things which are precious to us. Our family, our business, our wealth, our money, whatever is precious to us. Why would anybody want to manage stress? It took me a while to grasp that people have assumed that stress is a part of their life. Stress is not a part of your life, it's your inability to manage your own mind. It amazes me, people live here for 20, 30, 60 years and they still don't know how to manage their thought and emotion. This is like, you heard of Charles Darwin? Hello? In Illinois, you have no issues with him? I'm asking you, we're from Tennessee, so I'm asking you. We got some problems with him. I'll make this very simplistic. Charles Darwin said something like this, a deer could have become a giraffe over many million years. A pig could have become an elephant over many more million years. And a monkey became human rather quickly. So quickly that anthropologists think that there is a missing link somewhere. No, I'm sorry, you're on the second stage, I thought you were on the trees. I'm just being nasty. They're saying that the DNA difference between you and a chimpanzee is only 1.23%. 1.23% is not much of a difference, isn't it? Yes, physiologically, that is how close we are to a chimpanzee, just 1.23%. But in terms of our intelligence and awareness, we are worlds apart from a chimpanzee. And this is our problem, this is an evolutionary problem, that you have an intelligence for which you don't have a stable enough base. So your own intelligence freaks you all the time. To be peaceful has become such a big challenge. Essentially, you don't know how to handle your cerebral capability. Yes? See, please see, what is it that you're suffering? If you're suffering something, what is it that you suffer? What happened 10 years ago, you still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, you already suffer. Yes. What you're suffering is a phenomenal capability of memory and imagination. This is what you're suffering. Or in other words, you're suffering that which does not exist. If one is suffering that which does not exist, I will not label you, but you can ask any medical professional, they will say you are a case. Yes or no? If you suffer something that's not here, that means you're a case, yes? And please see, most of the time that's all it is. Yes? The only and only misery in human life is not happening the way you think it should happen. And what you think, is it straight? Every day it's hopping from one thing to another. If everything that you thought happened, you would be in a total mess. Fortunately, many things have not happened. From morning to evening, whatever comes to your mind, if all of it happens in your life, could you live here? Are you not glad it's not happening? Now the problem is, you are inventing ghosts in your mind and then trying to fight it. And of course, a whole industry has come up, professional ghostbusters. This happened. An Indian man came to California many years ago. Of course, he came as a technology person. Then he started dabbling with some investments and then he started playing the stock market. Somewhere 97 or 98, he had a windfall. He made a huge amount of money. He was already over 60 years of age. Just a year or two ago, at the right time, he had gotten his divorce. He was alone, over 60 years of age and a huge amount of money. He wanted to spend as much money upon himself as he could. So he bought himself a 1932 Ferrari for $36 million. He bought a Beverly Hills home for $80 million. Like this, he went about splurging upon himself. Then he needed a medical test. So in Northern California, there are medical institutions which are swankier than seven-star hotels. So he got himself into that. This is not some dreary medical test in one day. One full fortnight, resort-like atmosphere, where at your own pace, you can choose your tests and go through. So everything was fine, they appointed a very pretty-looking young woman as his nurse, he was enjoying the whole experience of it. On the fourth day evening, he was feeling so relaxed, he was lying on the bed. Unfortunately, what should happen in the toilet happened on the bed. He felt very embarrassed, he didn't know how to handle this mess. He was just looking at this, how to deal with this mess on the bed. Just then he heard this young lady coming towards his room. Fortunately in America, young ladies don't walk quietly, they come talk, 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 talk. This is a man's design. So he did not want this young lady to see the mess on the bed. So he didn't know what to do, there was no time, so he just picked up all the sheets and threw it out of the fifth floor window. Down below, a regular man was just going home from a party. It's such an unfair world. A man is expected to walk on a round planet and the damn thing is spinning all the time. With great difficulty, he was walking sideways and going home. You know what I'm talking about. He was slowly reaching towards his home sideways. Just then the sheets came and covered him. And he screamed and yelled and fought with the sheets violently. It took him over 2 minutes to get the sheets down. By then the security heard all this commotion and they came rushing. He was standing there dazed, looking down at the sheets on the sidewalk. They asked, "What happened here?" He said, "It looks like I've beaten the shit out of a ghost." Now, you invent your own ghost and you fight it. What's happening in your mind is your business, yes or no? Hello? But right now, most minds, 90% of the minds on the planet are in a state of mental diarrhea. Simply it's going. See, right now, my hand, if I want it goes here, if I don't want it'll sit here. This is a good hand. Suppose this hand starts jumping all over the place. What would you think? Some ailment, isn't it? Yes or no? Some Mr. Somebody. If this is happening with your mind, is this also some kind of an ailment? Hello? It's just large scale, that's all. All the time this is jumping all over the place. It can be not a useful mind, it can be a nuisance. The only thing that human beings are suffering is what is happening within them, isn't it? When was the last time that somebody poked you with a dagger? Even though you're living in Chicago. No? They never poked you? They ignored you. I'm asking, how much suffering has come to you from outside? Minuscule, isn't it, if anything has come? The rest is all self-help. The problem is just this, you have a super computer, but you don't even bother to read the user's manual. Do you agree with me? This is the most sophisticated gadget on the planet? Do you agree with me? More sophisticated than the number 7 which is coming? One number 7 came and it's bursting, another number 7 is coming, they can come and go. But this is the most sophisticated gadget on the planet, yes or no? But you don't even read the user's manual. The moment you're born, people are telling you what will you become in the world, conquer the world, do this, do that. But human beings are such a mess simply because they have not taken charge of their own faculties. If your body and your mind takes instructions from you, how would you keep yourself? Highest level of pleasantness or unpleasantness? What would you choose for yourself? Highest level of pleasantness. When I say pleasantness, if the body becomes pleasant, we call this health. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it pleasure. If the mind becomes pleasant, we call this peace. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it joy. If your emotions become pleasant, we call this love. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it compassion. If your very life energies become pleasant, we call this blissfulness. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call this success. Only to create pleasantness in our surroundings, we need the cooperation of many people and forces around us. But for the pleasantness of the body, pleasantness of the mind, pleasantness of our emotions and our energies, 100% your business, yes or no? I want to be happy, but my mother-in-law. People come to me and say, Sadhguru, my mother-in-law, she's a creature. And my husband, after all, her son. My wife, she's impossible. My boss, he's not even human. Like this. Various kinds of complaints. I tell them, don't bother, you come here, come to the yoga center, I will make sure your mother-in-law, husband, wife, boss, nobody has entry, just you. I will give you a nice place to stay and give you good food. Nothing to do, just be joyful, that's all. We'll take care of you forever. Only thing is, I will make random checks on you. If I find you miserable, I don't believe in feeding misery. You leave them in one place for 24 hours. In how many ways they twist themselves out is unbelievable. When you're alone, if you're miserable, you're obviously in bad company, isn't it? I'm with you and I'm miserable. I can say it's because of him I'm miserable. I'm alone and I'm miserable. This is bad company, isn't it? If we don't fix this, wherever we go, we are hankering to be peaceful, we are hankering to be happy. I know it is enshrined in your constitution, in pursuit of your happiness. If you don't change this, if you remain in pursuit of your happiness, I want you to understand, in pursuit of human happiness, we have turned the world upside down. We have engineered the world in a million different ways. 100 years ago, if you happened to be here and today you came here, you wouldn't even recognize the planet. Yes or no? With all this fixing of the world, much comfort and convenience has definitely come our way, there's no question about it. We are the most comfortable generation ever. Do you agree with me? I'm seeking a higher opinion. We are definitely the most comfortable generation ever. These kind of comforts and conveniences no generation ever knew. What even royalty could not have 100 years ago, today ordinary citizens have, isn't it? All of you driving chariots with 200, 400 horses, aren't you? But can we claim we are the most joyful generation? Can you even say, 100 years ago how happy people might have been, how peaceful they might have been? Are you in a better state? Maybe about the same, but definitely not better, isn't it? I wouldn't say worse, but not significantly better for all the things we have done to ourselves, isn't it? Fixing the world, fixing the world, fixing the world, if you fix it anymore, there'll be no world. To that extent we fixed it. But still, we're in pursuit of our happiness. This is because the wrong direction of pursuit, in the sense. Can all of you see me, even if you're not listening to me, can you see me? Can you use one hand and point out where I am? No, you got it wrong, you know I'm a mystic. Now this light is falling upon me, reflecting, going through your lenses, inverted image in the retina. You know the entire story. Where do you see me right now? Within yourself. Where do you hear me right now? Within yourself. Where have you seen the whole world? Within yourself. Have you ever seen anything outside of yourself? Have you ever experienced anything outside of yourself? Everything that ever happened to you, light and darkness happens within you, pain and pleasure happens within you, joy and misery happens within you, agony and ecstasy happens within you. Just about anything that ever happened to you happened within you. All human experience is happening from within you. At least what happens within you must happen your way, isn't it? What happens within you must happen your way. The world will never happen your way 100%. And I'm glad it is so. Because if the world happened entirely your way, where do I go? I'm glad it's not happening your way. Little bit your way, little bit my way, little bit somebody else's way, it's okay. The world should be like that. But this 1% must happen your way, isn't it? Because your situation in the world is like this. Has anybody in your life, anybody, ever happened 100% the way you want them? Anybody happened? Your parents, did they happen 100% the way you want them? No? Your children, no hope? Your spouse, your friend, your partner, anybody happen 100% your way? If they're happening 51% your way, you have the controlling stake, you must just enjoy that. You try to push towards 100%, they're gone. Yes, if you try to push towards 100% your way, nobody will be around you, that's about it. So nobody happens 100% your way. Up there, is there anybody such a hopeless romantic, you're still hoping you'll find that person who will be 100% the way you want them? See, I've lived long enough, believe me. There is no such person. 100% your way person doesn't exist, not even your dog. If you fell back, ultimately when everything else failed, you have fallen back to the dog as the cleanest love affair you can have. It is true, you have a 12 years guaranteed love affair, but these days they do their own thing. Even he doesn't happen 100% your way. So nobody happens your way. This is not the problem. This one is not happening your way. This is the problem, isn't it? If this one person happened your way, would you keep him joyful or miserable? Joyful. Instead of life being in pursuit of happiness, if your life was an expression of joy, then this life is very different. Right now, because for you to be happy, entire world has to be rejigged, and by the time it's rejigged, you want something else. Yes or no? Do you see this happening? You want this to happen. By the time that happens, you want something else to happen. Wherever you are in your life, whatever you may be in your life, is it true you want to be something more? Hello? If that something more happens, something more. If that something more happens, something more, I can go on like this. So it looks like you want expansion, limitless expansion. So let's say we will make you the king or queen of this world, of this planet. Don't look at me hopefully. Do I look like someone who will commit such a blunder? If you become the king or queen of this planet, will you be fulfilled or will you look at the stars? You will look at the stars, isn't it? If I give you one galaxy, you will look at the other galaxy. This is the nature of being human, because no matter where you are, no matter what it is, you want to be something more. But actually, it is not more you're seeking, you want a limitless expansion, you want infinite expansion, but unfortunately, you are going in installments. It's a little constipated approach. Your desire is great, you want to expand infinitely, but unnecessary constipation. Small expansion. This is finding expression in so many ways, in everything that you do, this is all you're doing. In some way, you're trying to extend your boundary. If it finds a very simple, basic physical expression, this is called sexuality. What you're trying to do is, that which is not you, you're trying to make it a part of you. If it finds an emotional expression, we'll call it love. Again the same thing, that which is not you, you're trying to make it a part of you. If it finds a mental expression, it gets labeled as greed, ambition, conquest, or simply shopping. Something that is not you, you're trying to make it a part of you. If it finds a conscious, successful expression, then we say this is yoga. When I say yoga, I'm not talking about twisting and turning. The word yoga means union. In some way, you obliterated the boundaries of your physical existence. Right now, as you sit here, this is me, that is you. Yes? Distinctly, boundaries are set. Shall I say something about myself, is it okay? Okay? This September, it was 34 years. And 34 years ago, I grew up not in any kind of spiritual traditions or any kind of religious atmosphere. Religion was never imposed upon us, no spirituality in me, absolutely. I grew up to be a skeptic, super skeptic about everything, because I had a million questions hanging around me always, and I didn't find one person who could sensibly answer. Everybody is pointing towards an authority, but nobody has